I was drunk, I was gone. That don't make it right, but I promise there were no feelings involved. She said, "Why tell me honestly? Was it real or just for show?" She said, "Save your apologies, baby. I just gotta know how long has this been going on? You've been thinking around on me while you're calling me, baby. How long has this been going on? You've been acting so shady. I've been feeling it. I'll admit it's my fault, but you gotta believe me. When I say it only happened once. I tried, but you'll never see that. You're the only one I wanna love. Oh yeah. She said, "Why tell me honestly? Was it real or just for show?" She said, "Save your apologies, baby. I just gotta know how long has this been going on? You've been creeping around on me. Oh, you're calling me, baby. How long has this been going on? You've been acting so shady. I've been feeling it lately, baby. How long has it been going on, baby? You gotta come tell me now." She said, "Boy, tell me honestly, was it real or just for show?" Yeah. She said, "Save your apologies, baby. I just gotta know how long has this been going on? You've been creeping around on me while you're calling me, baby. How long has this been going on? You've been acting so shady. I've been feeling it lately. How long has this been going on? You've been creeping around on me. How long has it been going on, baby? Has this been going on? Tell me now, niggas so shady. I've been feeling it lately, baby.
It's beautiful, it's bittersweet. You're like a broken home. Don't leave, I take a shot of memories and black. I like it.
Hello, 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 check.
Good afternoon, respected principal, esteemed distinct dignitaries, our honorable special guests, distinguished faculty members, dear participants, and valued members of the audience. It is with great honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you today as the chairperson of this distinguished gathering. The Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament organized at Tetso College as part of district-level initiative under Viksit Bharat Yuva Connect program for Chumugidima district. At the outset, allow me to briefly introduce myself. My name is Litina, and I am from B6 semester English department, also the NSS student coordinator of Tetsa College. A youth parliament is not simply a competition or a formal program. It is a ground for democratic training. It teaches us how to listen before we respond, how to disagree without disrespect, and how to speak with clarity and conviction. In a time when opinions are often loud but not always thoughtful, such platform becomes even more meaningful. Before we proceed further with today's program, it is my honor to introduce the esteemed panel of judges who have graciously consented to evaluate the competition. Mr. Avi Makrisu, student, President Chumukidima Town District Youth Organization, Dr. Yambini Kikon, Assistant Professor and Head Department Political Science, PCC. Ms. Elme K. Rengma, Assistant Professor and Head Department of Political Science, ICFI. Dr. R. Yongam, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, Tetso College. We shall now begin the program with the national anthem. I request the music department of Tetso College to please lead us with the anthem. I request everyone to kindly rise.
जनगणनाधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाने तव शुभ आशीष भागे हरे हरे
Thank you. Please be seated. As a symbolic gesture of hope, growth, and collective responsibility, we will now proceed with the watering of the tree of hope. I kindly request our principal, special guests, and all dignitaries to please come forward and water the plant of hope. I now have the honor to invite our respected principal, Helisa L. King, to deliver the welcome address and also proceed with the felicitation of judges.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our respected chairperson, esteemed panel of judges, faculty, and future leaders of tomorrow. It is an immense pleasure for me to welcome you all to this Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament that has been organized and spearheaded by the NSS unit of Tetso College. We are especially glad to be organizing this for the second time here in our campus, and I warmly also welcome all the participants who will be competing in today's Youth Parliament. I wish you all the best, and I'd like everyone here to know that Tetso College embraces these kind of events and programs that are aimed at providing a platform to young youths to become future leaders. It is in line with our vision, which is to create a positive impact in the world. It is our hope and belief that the youth of today will be able to make a positive impact wherever you go, whether it be within your social circles, community, churches, organizations, even beyond Nagaland, and be able to contribute to the progress and development of the nation. Keeping Viksit Bharat in mind and its principles, we hope that programs like this we will be able to identify youths who are deep thinking citizens who can help to safeguarding the constitutional and democratic values and rights and be able to contribute to nation building. So, keeping this in mind, I'd like to wish everyone all the best, all those who are also participating, who are also viewing the audience here today. We really appreciate, the time that you've taken to be here, and particularly our judges, who we know are very busy people and from different walks of life, as already mentioned by our chairperson. I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Yanbeni Kikon, the assistant professor and head of the Department of Political Science, Patkai Christian College, Mr. Avi Makritse, president of Chumukidima Town District Youth Organization, and Ms. Elmi K. Regma, assistant professor and head of the Department of Political Science, ICFI, and Dr. R. Yangam, our assistant professor from the Department of Social Work, Tetso College. And I also like to especially welcome Mr. K. Manikanta, the District Youth Officer for Bharat. Thank you for gracing us with your presence here at this Youth Parliament. We'd like to extend a small token of appreciation, for your presence here. So if you could kindly, I think, come on stage, we would appreciate, we'd just like to acknowledge the judges who are here and who are giving their time for this program. Mr. Avi Makritse, President Chumukdema Town District Youth Organization. Sorry, let me just go ahead. Next is Dr. Yanbeni Kikon, Assistant Professor and Head of Department of Political Science, Patkai Christian College. And Ms. Elmi K. Regma, Assistant Professor and Head of Department of Political Science, ICFI. And our very own Dr. R. Yangam, Assistant Professor in the Department of Social Work. Thank you very much, and once again, all the best to all the participants.
Thank you, Meng, for your inspiring words. We are truly grateful for your guidance and encouragement. We also thank you for honoring our distinguished judges. We would like to felicitate our special guest, Mr. Kulolori, Chairman of the Nagaland Industrial Development Corporation and Chairman of Tetso College. I request Ms. Lobby, Program Officer, NSS Tetso, to please do the honor.
So you can take it on.
A very good afternoon, each and every one of you. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you, Chairperson, and respected judges who are all my friends and people I've known since I was a child, I guess, when I was younger, and also to members of the Department of Youth Resources and Sports, and also to all the students, the different institutions who are here right now. I think the last thing you want is to be hearing a long speech and also to be hearing a semi-old man talking and giving you a lecture. And so that's not what I'm going to be doing. Actually, what we want to do is we want to hear from you. At the end, when we talk about Viksit Bharat, 2047, we aim to see a developed country. That means it would be you people, it'll be your vision, your work that will decide whether we are developed or not. I think today's topic, 50 years of emergency lessons for Indian democracy, is not just a history lesson. It's a reminder of the resilience of our democratic institutions. For a democracy to thrive, it requires active participation, transparency, and the courage to voice diverse perspectives. So, from each of you today, we hope to see your vision in action, to see you telling us what you're going to do. Because at the end, when we talk about 2047, I would be pretty old, I think. Much that's still another 20, what, 22 years away, basically. And at that time, I'm sure each of you would be at a different stage of life. You would either be having, you would be maybe where I am right now, standing here talking about where the country is going to be in 2067 or something like that. So I think that is the beauty of our democracy. That is the beauty of human life. It is about passing on the baton to those younger. And I think that is the reason why we're here today, so that we can have an exchange of ideas. We can hear from you to see where you're going to be taking us. And then we can also hear from the opinions of maybe your teachers and elders, and also people from the different districts over here. I think, I hope that all of you engage deeply in today's sessions. I hope that you are bold in your arguments, but at the same time, I hope that you have and develop a vision through debate and discussion from this, from which you can implement actions that will result in a developed country for all of us. I wish each and every one of you all the best. Good luck. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating message. Your words have truly set the tone for today's deliberations. Now, I would like to give time to Mr. K. Manikanta, District Youth Officer, My Bharat.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Sorry, good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Everyone, good afternoon, and all the best. See, I don't take much time, but I'm saying that the politicians have a chance to speak in parliament, but we are giving a chance to the youth, and feels like a proud thing in the whole journey of life. We are giving a platform. That means, apart from politicians, one of the proudest thing is you are entering into the parliament. You should be proud. So you have to speak well, as well as my judges. I request those the candidates who have the stuff, who have the talent, try to select them, try to represent from the whole Nagaland. The Chumo is the best, I think so, because we have a lot of infrastructure here, we have a lot of students here, and we have a lot of uh, communication skills also here. Apart from all over India, the communication, English, and the sociology and the civic sense, everything we have here. That's what I'm saying, that try to encourage the students who have the talent here. I request everyone, thank you from my side. And the participants, how do you prepare? You. And one thing from my side, my request it is, try to avoid this paper. Try to avoid the paper. Try to mug up. Try to buy hard. Try to get the things from the internet sources, and try to get the sources from the older books which is already in this history classes. Try to get the things from your history lecturers, political science, and the democracy books also. Thank you once again for organizing this a wonderful event. I hope Chumu people will represent the whole Nagaland from the to this parliament directly. Thank you once again to the college also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We shall now move to the main segment of today's event, the program, the Youth Parliament Competition. Each participant will be given 3 minutes to present their views. The evaluation will be based on content relevance, clarity and structure, verbal communication and body language, innovation and creativity, language fluency and adherence to time. I request all participants to maintain parliamentary decorum throughout the session. Now I give time to Mr. Letul Thakro, Coordinator and Program Officer, NSS Tetso.
Good evening, everyone. Quickly, I'll give you some information about the competition. First, for the judges, after the calculations and everything, I would like four of you to please discuss among yourself and finalize the top five. They will be sent to for the state level in Kohima in a coming future. And if they get selected there, they will be sent to the national level to two people. Yes. And for the participants, please make sure to spell out your name, not spell out, to clearly say your name so that the judges can write your names properly. Please remember that one. It'll be for 3 minutes. Under 3 minutes, you will have to complete your speech. In 2 minutes, 30 seconds, there will be a warning bell. And in 3 minutes, that will be the final bell. That's it. Yeah, please do not forget to pronounce your name properly. Okay, thank you.
I will be calling the names of participants. I request the participants to please take the stage one after another. The first participant is Krenilei John, ICFA University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kernile John, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in business administration at ICFA University, Nagaland. 50 years ago, in 1975, under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, India entered a period of emergency. Fundamental rights were suspended. The press was censored. Opposition leaders were jailed. The Constitution remained in place, but its spirit was restrained. That period taught India a lesson that still echoes true. Democracy is not destroyed by a single force or overnight. It is weakened by indifference and silence. Now, 50 years later, we do not live under a declared emergency. Elections happen, institutions function, voices debate openly. Yet the lesson in 1975 is not about the fear of the past. It's about the responsibility in the present. In 1975, censorship created blank spaces in the newspapers. Today we no longer have those, but instead we have too much information flooding us to the point that the truth struggles to make itself known. Freedom of speech must be protected, but the truth must also be protected. Democracy requires not just loud voices, but informed citizens. Back then, power was visibly centralized. Today, power can operate in subtle ways. For the ones who are willing to look, power operates through influences. narratives, and digital platforms. We need to ask ourselves, are the institutions independent? Are our citizens remaining alert? And when we look around today, beyond our own borders, at the ongoing wars, political instability, nations divided by conflict, we are reminded that democracy and peace is very fragile. Some countries are fighting to restore their democratic systems, while some countries are fighting simply to survive. The emergency proved one powerful truth. The people are the ultimate safeguard of a nation, not the prime minister, not the parliament, not even the constitution alone, but the awareness, participation, and courage of the people. Because democracy survives not by memory alone. It does not survive only in our history books, but by vigilance. Thank you.
Next participant, Lisu Sangtam.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected panel of judges, all the participants, and all the faculties from different institutions. I myself, Lisu Sangdam, currently pursuing my BA fourth semester from ICFA University, and I'm a student of political science. Today, I stand before you all to speak about the chapters of the history of India, the 50 years of emergency. I have only 3 minutes, so I won't be specifically relying on describing the events, but let me get to the points. But simultaneously, I'm going to give you a little bit background about this emergency. On June 25th, 1975, the Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she declared national emergency under Article 352. During this time, the fundamental rights was suspended, the press freedom was restricted, and democracy itself was on the brink of collapse. And it is considered one of the darkest chapters of the independent India. And during this time, we have to remember that the history is not only about remembering the mistake, but it's all about learning from them. Because we all know the reality of politics. When you have power, you don't have courage. And when you have courage, you don't have power. And when you have both courage and power, you become corrupted. So the first lessons of the Indian democracy after the 50 years is the strong institutions. Democracy does not survive only because of judiciary, but it survives because of parliament, because of media, because of the citizens of India where they live independently and courage. When the institution become weak, the democracy become vulnerable. The second lessons of the Indian democracies that we have to learn is the value of fundamental rights. Fundamental give us the rights like freedom of speech and expressions and equality before the law. But this emergency proved that how the precious and beautiful rights can be easily taken away when we have the people are not vigilant and consistent and they don't know how to use the power. The third lessons of the democracy of these lessons is the power of the people. In 1977, we had the general elections, and this is the first time in history of Indian politics where the unprecedented situations were happened. That is the removing of the Congress from the power. We all know the fact that after the independence, Indian National Congress dominated the Indian politics for 37 years. But this is the first time through the relentless efforts of the revolutions, the people they vote castes they vote very peacefully and very decisively, and in the consequences they removed the Congress and it was replaced by the Janata Party. So 50 years later, this emergency remind us that democracy is not about automatic, but it has to be protected every day. And we, the citizens and youth of India, has a responsible for it. We, the youth, had a responsible to confirm, to think logically and critically, and to work for it. And in this process, youth play a very vital and significant role. That's why Swami Vivekananda also said, "Give me 100 youth men with heart and energy, and I shall revolutionize the whole country." So we have to bring this into actions. And we have to work together for the betterment of the citizens of India as well as for our nations by the youth. And we will not experience this dark history in the futures of India as well as the Indian politics, but rather we will join in hand and work together, and India will be a developed nation by 2047. That is the centenary year of our independence. From here, I conclude my short speech. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Gautam Das.
Good afternoon and namaskar, jury members and fellow youth parliamentarian. My name is Gautam Das and currently pursuing my BCom fourth semester at ICFA University, Nagaland. Honorable speakers, exactly 50 years ago on the midnight of 25 June 1975, the President of India signed an proclamation that changes our history forever. The sunset of our republic for a long 21 months. Article 21, a very right to life and liberty, was suspended by imposing the national emergency. Today, as we stand in 2026, we don't just look back to criticize our past, but to strengthen our futures. Ladies and gentlemen, इतिहास हमें डराने के लिए नहीं बल्कि हमें जगाने के लिए होती है. Let us look into the fact during the emergency, over 110,000 people were detained without trial under the Ukrainian of MISA. The press was silenced. Even the words of Mahatma Gandhi was concerned. The biggest lesson that we learn is that the institutions are a break of our democracy. And when the judiciary and the press bends, the nation crisis. That is why in 1978, the 44th Amendment was passed, replacing the verge term internal disturbance with the armed rebellion. कानून साफ होनी चाहिए ताकि उसका गलत फायदा कोई ना उठा सके. Many argued that emergency brought discipline, but the Indian people gave a different verdict. In the general election 1977, the ruling party was reduced from over 350 seats to just 153 seats. This wasn't just a political defeat, it was a democratic audit. It proved that Indian voters, though it may be poor or illiterate, value his garima, their dignity more than any government promises. हिंदुस्तान का वोटर शायद कम पढ़ा लिखा हो, पर उसका आवाज उसका वो गूंगा और बहरा नहीं है. As we merge toward Viksit Bharat 2047, we must remember true development is not just about GDP growth. It's about constitutional morality. It's about the digital, in this age of digital misinformation, our internal vigilance is the only price of our liberty. Fellow delegates, let us resolve today that while 1975 was a year of emergency, every year from now will be a year of emergency where the rights of the citizens and the strength of our constitution grows together. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude with the slogan, सरकारें बदलते रहती है पर हमारा संविधान, हमारा तिरंगा हमेशा सर्वोपरि होना चाहिए. Thank you.
Next participating, we have Nikitonio Thapo.
Good afternoon, respected panel of judges, honorable members, and my young fellow citizens. Myself, Nikitonio Thapo from Nazar, pursuing Bachelor of Social Work, second semester. On the night of 25th June 1975, while India slept, democracy was placed under suspension. A national emergency was declared under Article 352 of the Constitution by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and approved by the President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed on the grounds of internal disturbance. For the next 21 months, India witnessed one of the most debated phases in its democratic journey. Fundamental rights were suspended. The freedoms guaranteed under Article 19, freedom of speech and expressions, were curtailed. Over 1 lakh political leaders, including prominent leaders like Jayaprakash Narayan, were imprisoned under Maintenance of Internal Security Act, and press censorship became compulsory. In 1976, in the case of Additional District Magistrate Jabalpur versus Shivkan Shukla, the Supreme Court held that during the emergency, even the citizens should not approach the court for the enforcement of right to life and personality. And that judgment, it remains a solemn reminder of how fragile our rights can be when institutional balance weakens. But here lies the resilience of the Indian democracy. It did not collapse. In 1977, general elections were held. People of India voted decisively, and powers changed at the center. The democracy corrected itself through a ballot and reaffirmed that the constitution and the democracy ultimately belongs to its citizen. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar warned us, however good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing are not good enough, it'll prove to be wrong. And that emergency proved that the strength of the democracy, it does not only lie in written laws, but in constitutional morality. Now, 50 years later, what lesson does this period hold on Indian democracy? First, democracy demands vigilance. So the rights once suspended reminds us never to take our rights for granted. Second, institutions must evolve. The 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978 replaced the vague phrase internal disturbance with armed rebellion, making it difficult to declare such an emergency in the future. So today, as we aspire towards Viksit Bharat, a developed India, let's learn the importance that economic progress without democratic safeguard is incomplete. And the emergence, it is not only a historical period, it is a constitutional warning and it is a civic responsibility. The real question lies before us is, we, as the nation of the youth, are we really vigilant enough to protect the democracy of the coming future? And I would like to end that the constitution and the emergency, it was a very historical period for India. But if we, the citizens, remain informed, aware, and vigilant, and above all, true, enduring, we should choose courage instead of comfort. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Next participant, Melda from Nazar.
लोकतंत्र एक दिन में खत्म नहीं होती, वो देरी देरी कमजोर होती है. Honorable Speaker, respected judges, and my fellow young parliamentarians, a very good afternoon to you all. I am Melda from Nazar College. I stand here today to reflect on 50 years of emergency and lessons on Indian democracy. Let us imagine for a second. Freedom has no sound. Sorry. Let us imagine for a second. I stand here today to reflect on 50 years of emergency and lessons on Indian economy, where freedom had no sound, newspapers printed through leaders, and then newspapers were not allowed to print, and the leaders were detained and rights disappeared. On 25th June 1975, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the then Prime Minister, can I restart from the beginning? I can start from the beginning. On 25 June 1975, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi started the emergency in India under Article 352 for 20, which led to 24 months. During emergency, Article 358 and Article 359 suspended certain fundamental rights. Lok Sabha's elections were postponed, and then over 30,000 political workers and opposition leaders were curtailed. Jayaprakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee were also detained. The electoral defeat of 1977 is a strong evidence that भारत में असली ताकत जनता का पास होती है. नेता बड़े हो सकते हैं, लेकिन संविधान उससे भी बड़े होते हैं. The emergency of 1975 taught the leaders that unchecked power leads to consequences, and it has taught citizens that silence leads to weakened systems, and then it has taught the youth of today that vigilance is responsibility. As the youth of Viksit Bharat, our duty is clear: to strengthen institutions, to protect constitutional values, and to ensure development never replaces democracy. I strongly believe that developing India is not just economically powerful, but it should be democratically strong and secured. Lastly, I would like to conclude with a phrase: हम चुप रहने वाले नहीं हैं, हम जिम्मेदार नागरिक हैं. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Marchand from Tetso College.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected judges, dignitaries, and my dear friends. My name is Machan Kitan from the Department of Computer Science, Tetso College, and also one of the student coordinators of Tetso NSS. In 1975, India, the world's largest democracy, faced one of its darkest midnights. The lights of liberty dimmed when the emergency was declared. Civil liberties were suspended, the press was silenced, and the voice of the people was muffled. It was a moment that tasted the very soul of our republic. But today, as we stand half a century later, we do not gather to reopen wounds. We gather to remember and to learn. The emergency taught us that democracy is not just about elections, it's about vigilance. It's not merely a system, it's a spirit that demands courage from citizens and restraints from those in power. When institutions bend, when distance is punished, and when fear replaces freedom, democracy begins to suffocate. Yet, it also taught us resilience because when democracy was crushed, it was the people who restored it. The power of the vote in 1977 became a revolution. Silent yet thunderous, the citizens of India reminded the world that in our country, rulers may rule, but the people will always reign. So, what lesson do we carry today, 50 years later? First, never take freedom for granted. The rights we enjoy today were not handed to us easily. They were earned, protected, and paid for by the courage of those who spoke when it was dangerous to speak. Second, a strong democracy needs institutions, not strongmen. Courts, media, and the opposition. They are not obstacles, they are the oxygen for democracy. Third, democracy needs participation. It's not a spectator sport. We, the youth, must not just scroll through democracy. We must stand for it, speak for it, and strengthen it. My friends, the emergency was a warning from history, a reminder that democracy can die not only by force, but also by silence. And silence today is the luxury that we cannot afford. that we cannot afford. So, as the youth of Viksit Bharat, let us pledge to the generation that keeps democracy alive, not just in our constitution, but in our conversations, our actions, and our courage. Because democracy is not a gift from the past, it is a responsibility to the future. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Next participant, we have Salome H. Apon from Tetso.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Chair, esteemed judges, precise timekeeper, and my worthy opponents. My name is Salome H. Apon from the Department of Political Science, and I will be speaking on the 50 years of emergency, lessons learned for Indian democracy. 25 जून 1975 में भारत में सबसे कंट्रोवर्शियल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर हुआ था. I'm so sorry. 25 जून 1975 में भारत में सबसे कंट्रोवर्शियल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर हुआ था. इस इमरजेंसी को भारत के सबसे संपूर्ण लोकतंत्र को बदल दी, एक नया दिशा दी, एक नया मोड़ ली. This period is remembered as one of the darkest chapters in the Indian democracy. The constitution was misused to suppress and dissent, and efforts were made to enable authoritarian rule. The freedom of speech was denied and the media was censored. The public has access only to the information that Indira Gandhi wanted to the public to know. The emergency period led to the opposition leaders like Morarji Desai and also Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Advani, George Fernandez, who were arrested. Article 14, 21, and 22 was suspended. Though the emergency was lifted on March 21, 1977, where the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she dissolved the Lok Sabha elections and called for re-elections. However, there are a lot of lessons that need to be learned even for today's Indian democracy. Firstly, we learn about how fragile our constitution can get, and it also calls us for the need for institutional independence, protection of civil liberties, fundamental rights, particularly the right to life and liberty, Article 21, and also Article 20. Article 21 talks about the protection of life and personal liberty, where this right, even if an emergency is declared, in the later years to come, this right cannot be censored or cannot be removed. It teaches us the importance of upholding dissent, which is essential to democracy, not a threat to national security. Our role as a citizen include being constantly aware, being actively involved in politics, even if not directly, but also as a citizen who votes and who knows their rights. As we move towards Viksit Bharat 2047, let us try to be an achiever rather than just being an idealist. I cannot do it alone, rather can you? So let us try to do it together. As we move towards a new era, let the memories of 1975 act as a lesson and not just a scar. Let us pledge that the darkest chapter remains a lesson and never a dark phase. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Samvidhan.
Masileto from Nizar.
Good evening, everyone. Respected our honorable judges, principal, faculty, and to all my dear friends. Today, I'm very much privileged to speak on the theme 50 Years of Emergency, Lessons for Indian Democracy. Democracy is a misfortune for a country if the person in power overpower the power of the people. from whom it derives legitimacy. Democracy is not merely a system of government, it is a moral commitment to the sovereignty of the people. The most unsettling reminder of this truth in India's history is the proclamation of emergency in 1975 by President on the advice of the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, marking one of the darkest chapters in independent India. Fundamental rights were suspended, political opposition was silenced through mass arrest, the press was censored, the world's largest democracy briefly resembled an authoritarian state governed by fear rather than consent. Yet, history is not only a record of failure, it is also a source of corrective wisdom lessons for India's democracy. The enactment of 44th Constitution Amendment Act 1978, which restored Article 20 and 21. It teaches us that observance of Samvidan Hatya Divas should rise above symbolism through homage to Constitution, judicial independence, protecting press freedom, ensuring transparency, and nurturing active citizen participation. The most important lesson is India's aspiration to become a developed nation. A Viksit Bharat can be achieved through digital transparency, inclusive governance, and a citizen-centric approach, and not by suppressing the civil liberties, media censorship, and centralized executive power. The emergency also teaches us a deeper philosophical lesson. The three pillars of democracy, legislature, executive, and judiciary, are insufficient without a fourth pillar, that is, the vigilant citizen and media. Democracy survives not only in courtroom and parliament, but in the moral medium resolve of citizens who refuse to surrender the constitutional agency. In conclusion, 50 years later, the emergency should not be remembered as a historical aberration, but understood as a permanent warning. Democracy rarely collapses overnight. They erode gradually through silence, complacency, and normalization of excess power. We as a citizen, can we be the tip of the stone, tip of the spear that broke the line and stone that caused the ripple? Remember if we as a citizen crumble, the law becomes a weapon for the state rather than a shield for the people. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Mitoluki Agumi from Tetso College.
Good afternoon, respected honorable teachers, judges, and still my friends present here. My name is Nito Lukia Aomi from the Department of Social Work 4th semester, Tetso College. And today I stand before you to speak on the theme, 50 Years of Emergency, a Lesson for Indian Democracy. From 25th June 1975 till 21st March 1977, India faced one of the most difficult moments in its democratic journey. That is the declaration of the emergency. It was imposed under Article 352 of the Indian Constitution under the leadership of Indira Gandhi. So, this decision was influenced by several factors. The Allahabad High Court judgment questioned the validity of the Prime Minister's election, while the widespread protest and the political movement led by a leader like Jay Prakash Narayan created an atmosphere of instability. So the government believed that strict control is necessary to maintain an order. However, the impact of the emergency went far beyond politics. Fundamental rights were suspended, press freedom was restricted, and many citizens were detained without trial. Democracy remained in form, but without spirit. It is the ordinary people, the poor, the voiceless, and the vulnerable who suffer the most. From a humanitarian perspective, these period teaches a crucial lesson. Power without accountability can harm human dignity. Democracy is not only about ruling, it's about protecting the rights, freedom, and justice for the rights of the citizen. A Viksit Bharat cannot be built only with economic growth, but it should be built on justice, freedom, and rights of every individual. Yet this dark chapter also showed us resilience of Indian democracy. When the emergency was lifted, the people respected through the ballot, and for res- in, res- in and in restoring the democracy, the democratic values and constitutional safeguards. Uh, let us remember, like emergency is not emergency with not fear, but with responsibility, so that emergency with I'm sorry. Okay. Let us remember emergency not with fear but with responsibility, so that such chapter never be repeated. Because when democracy protects the people, the nation truly progresses. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Next participant, Kaimin Chang Sinsong from Tetso.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamintan Singh Son, a second-year student from the Department of Mass Communication, representing Tetso College. Imagine waking up one morning and finding out your freedom of speech is gone. Newspapers are censored. Thousands of leaders are arrested. And above all, your basic fundamental rights are suspended. This is not a story of another country. This is our country, India itself. Today, as we mark the celebration of 50 years of emergency, we need to ask ourselves, what did it really teach us about democracy? On the night of 25th June 1975, India, the world's largest democracy, once witnessed the most defining moment in its political history. Emergency was declared. For 21 months, democracy got tested. Emergency was imposed by our former Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, under Article 352 of the Constitution, citing an internal crisis. On the basis of that, it had political crisis, economical instability, and at the same time, conflicts between communities. And in the year 1975, the Allahabad High Court found Indira Gandhi electoral malpractices, and it affected her. And through the exposure, it has affected her careers as well. But at the same time, people asked her to step down from her position. The opposition leader, Jaya Prakash Narayan, imposed a protest against Indira Gandhi, finding out the electoral campaign, which she was funding a malpractice. And then Jaya Prakash Narayan intended a protest demanding her resignation. The strikes were going on the road, so as well the students' movement across the country. At the same time, during this period, the citizens could not go to the government and ask the rights, the basic fundamental rights. The power was unbalanced, and tilted exclusively towards the executives. However, in the year 1977, the things started to change. The election began, and people started to have right. The government, the citizens of India, for the first time, the citizens of India voted out the ruling government of India. Through these lessons, we can see the effects of how the people come together and rule the democracy. The lessons can be learned through this and implying to this generation is democracy should be controlled by strong institutions such as independent judiciary, civic societies, and at the same time, by the people. And we need to understand that let us remember not the pain, but to understand that what we have gone through. Thank you so much.
Kuzivel Lubenyo from Tetso.
Good afternoon, Honorable Speaker, respected judges, and dear friends. My name is Kuzava Levenio, Department of Political Science, 4th semester, Tetso College. Today, I stand before you to speak on 50 years of the emergency lesson for Indian democracy. The emergency was declared on June 25 and 26, 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. It was proclaimed under Article 352 of Indian Constitution, citing as internal disturbance. The decision followed a political crisis after the Allahabad High Court found her guilty of electoral malpractices. President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed signed the proclamation, which the emergency was formally imposed. After which followed by suspension of fundamental rights, mass arrests of opposition leaders and members, and press censorship, which silenced the public voices. Eventually, the emergency was lifted, civil liberties restored, and general elections were held. In the 1977 election, Congress Party was defeated for the first time in national level, leading to the rise of Janta Party. The emergency imposed in 1975 by Indira Gandhi stands as a lesson for India that freedom is not lost in just one single event, but is often eroded slowly through small and seemingly justified restriction introduced in the name of order, stability, or national interest. When civil liberties were suspended, the press censored, and opposition voices silenced, the world saw how a strong democratic nation can fall if easily if its institutions and citizens are not on the lookout. This particular event reminds us that democracy is not self-sustaining. It survives only when we actively protect constitutional values, defend the independence of institutions, and question any question anything that weakens fundamental rights. Um, as a citizen of democratic country, we must remember that safeguarding liberty is not the duty of leaders alone, but shared responsibility of every person living in the country. As we move toward Viksit Bharat 2047, the events of 1975 stands as guiding lessons, not a forgotten chapter. Yes, answer. J. Samvedan, thank you.
Molomi from Tetso.
Good afternoon, everyone, respected panel of judges, fellow speakers, and all the audience present here. Today, I stand here representing Tetso College. My name is Molomi, and I speak on the topic 50 Years of Emergency and the Lesson for Indian Democracy. When a tool for stability and efficiency was supposedly used for domination, but not only it was a story of domination, it was truly a story of resilience and boldness of the Indians. मैं बात कर रही हूँ 1975 1975 emergency घोषित किया गया under that time Prime Minister Sri Indira Gandhi. It was proclaimed through the radio on various aspects such as internal disturbances where it spiked with inflation, the famous Allahabad court verdict against Indira Gandhi where she was found guilty of 2 cases, and J. Prakash संघ नेतृत्व किया क्षेत्रों का आंदोलन, which was seen as a threat to stability and anarchy. The national emergency had other factors, but this remains the prominent ones. I stand here not to condemn the emergency, but I stand here to reflect and to move on. The national emergency, although it strangled the press, which was once free, but censorship was imposed. And even a dissent, a whisper, invited punishment. And the suspension of rights was the most famous one. And not forgetting the freedom fighters like Jay Prakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and Muraj Desai, Salakho ke piche, behind the bars. As cliche as it sounds, we cannot deny the fact that emergency was a black face in the history of India. Democracy slept and dictatorship arose. But I, as a youth who looked towards Viksit Bharat, I do not look at it as a wound to remain on the pain as an injury, but I look at it as a scar where I can reflect on, to reflect on the valuable lessons of the Indian democracy, to value the rights that we have, to not take it for granted, as once it is taken away, it strips off our dignity and our strength, reminding that power cannot be concentrated into one alone, as it can lead to authority. Constitution is as strong as the one who defends it and the one who uses it. And our institutions should be more independent and not fragile. In conclusion, the emergency of 1975 is not merely a part of our history chapters, but a mark that we should look about, not to cry on, but to stand firm, to learn from our mistakes, and to move on as a youth. So I solemnly ask you all to reflect on your actions, to move towards collectively to Viksit Bharat. Thank you.
Peki Chuntu from Tetso.
Namaste or Subha Sayam Sabko. My name is Peki Chintu and हर साल 25 जून को संविधान हत्या दिवस में माना जाता है. This declaration of emergency. This declaration of emergency on June 25th, 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi remains one of the darkest periods of the history of independent India, as the citizens' liberties were curtailed, uh, press, the press media were under severe censorship, and opposition leaders were muffled and incarcerated. This emergency demonstrated what autocratic power meant for India's civic and political life. Why did this emergency occur, you might ask? The call for her resignation, that is Indira Gandhi's resignation, became louder and more prominent, and she was in trouble. So what happened next was the call for emergency being imposed by Indira Gandhi, as she was scared of losing power. And on June 25, 1975, President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed declared a state of emergency throughout the state of India. Electricity were cut off to the daily neighborhood. Most media houses were headquartered. No newspapers could be printed, and Indians received news of emergency the next morning on the All India radio. Almost all opposition leaders like George Fernandez, Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, and so on were put to jail, and about 36,000 people were put to jail under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, a controversial act that allowed for indefinite detention without any trial. For effectively, what it did was silence the opposition government policies and actions. While the oppositions were in jail, Parliament imposed acts and changes. So 38 Amendment Constitution Act that barred judicial review of emergency was passed. The 39 Amendment Act that said the election of the Prime Minister could not be challenged in this Supreme Court was passed as well. The 42nd Amendment Act changes to a range of laws, taking away judiciary's right to hear elections petitions, widening the authority of the Union to encroach on state subjects. It gave Parliament unbridled power to amend constitution with no judicial review possible, and also made the law passed by the parliament immune to all judicial review. The emergency ended as unexpected as it had begun. As it was, Indira Gandhi was soundly defeated by an amalgam of opposition parties led by Desai, who became the first non-Congress prime minister. So, not looking at this in a negative point, we should all look this as a base so that we can learn from this and not repeat our mistakes. Thank you.
Next participant, Nikaho Yepto from Nezer.
A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nikaho Yepto, and I am from Niger. आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, मेरे साथी हिंदुस्तानियों, सभी को मेरा नमन। 50 साल किसी भी देश के लिए एक लंबा वक्त होता है। हम नौजवानों के लिए 1975 सिर्फ किताब का एक पन्ना नहीं, बल्कि एक धुंधली तस्वीर की जैसी है। लेकिन आज जब हम इस युवा सांसद में खड़े हैं, तो हम सिर्फ इतिहास के पन्ने पलटने नहीं, बल्कि उसे समझने के लिए आए हैं। हम ये समझने के लिए आए हैं कि आखिर यह पन्ना हमसे भूला क्यों नहीं जाता। 50 साल बाद भी अगर आपातकाल शब्द बोला जाता है, तो हिंदुस्तान की लोकतंत्र का रूह कांप क्यों उठती है। 25 जून 1975 की रात, जब हिंदुस्तान अपने सबसे लंबी रात की नींद ले रहे थे, चंद घंटों में दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र की सांसें थम गई। मौलिक अधिकार, बोलने का अधिकार, आजादी का अधिकार, यहाँ तक कि जीने का अधिकार सब खत्म हो गया। और अगले 21 महीने तक B.R. अम्बेडकर ने जो संविधान दिया था, वो ठंडे बस्ते में बंद हो गया। हम इमरजेंसी को बस एक राजनीतिक घटना की तरह देखते हैं, लेकिन ये करोड़ों लोगों के लिए बहुत निजी थी। ये वो वक्त था जब बिना मुकदमे के हजारों छात्रों और राजनीतिक कार्यकर्ता को जेल में डाला गया है। ये वो वक्त था जब प्रेस और अखबारों पर सेंसरशिप लगे थे। ये खौफ का माहौल था। जहां प्रेस की आवाज दब गई, तो सोचो आम आदमी की हालत। सवाल ये है कि लेकिन ये सब हमें क्यों जानना चाहिए? क्योंकि जो खामियां तब थी वो आज भी है। आपातकाल सिर्फ किसी एक अगुवा या पार्टी के बारे में नहीं थी। ये चेतावनी थी कि हमारे संस्थाएं कितनी कमजोर है। इसने दिखाया कि संविधान की संरचना को कितनी जल्दी खतरे में डाला जा सकता है। याद रखना, आपातकाल किसी जंग की वजह से लागू नहीं की गई थी, बल्कि एक राजनीतिक संकट की वजह से थी। इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट का एक फैसले ने पूरा व्यवस्था हिला दिया। सबक यह है कि लोकतंत्र के लिए सबसे बड़ी धमकी सीमा के बाहर नहीं, बल्कि ताकत की गलियारों में है। मेरे साथी युवा हिंदुस्तानियों, लोकतंत्र की मशाल अब हमारे हाथों में है। इमरजेंसी हमें यह सिखाता है कि संविधान सिर्फ वकीलों और नेताओं की किताब नहीं है, यह हमारी ढाल है। हमें वो पीढ़ी बनना है जो सत्ता से सवाल करे और चुप्पी से बेहतर बहस को माने, और जो हर छोटी से छोटी अन्याय के खिलाफ खड़ा हो। आओ इमरजेंसी की याद को राजनीतिक आग जलाने के लिए नहीं, बल्कि जागरूकता की दिया जलाने के लिए उपयोग करेंगे। आओ हम वचन ले कि हिंदुस्तान की लोकतांत्रिक भावनाओं का रक्षा करेंगे, सिर्फ अगले चुनाव के लिए नहीं, बल्कि अगले 50 साल और उसके बाद भी। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Kipito Yepto from Tetso.
Good afternoon to one and all. प्रतियोगिता की सम्मानित निर्णायक, respected faculties and the students present here. My name is Kipito Yepto from Tetso College, currently pursuing my bachelor's in political science. What if one morning you wake up and your rights to speak was no longer yours? What if the newspaper you held in your hand carried only what it was printed? What if questioning the government becomes a crime? This is not imagination. This was India on 25th June 1975. The emergency was introduced by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, where was introduced by Indira Gandhi, where the largest democracy in the world entered as one of the darkest chapters. For 21 months, fundamental rights were suspended. Article 19 rights to freedom of speech was no longer voices. The press was censored. Opposition leaders were arrested. The first lessons taught us that democracy is fragile. The Constitution gives us rights, but it is our responsibilities to protect. No powers or functions can be against the Constitution. The second lesson taught us that the importance of balance and checks. The judiciary, the media, and the oppositions are not enemies for development, but they safeguards for the democracy. As a young citizens of India, we should understand that democracy is not maintained by leaders alone. So let us promise that we will not allow the truth. Let us promise that we will not allow the spirit of freedom. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Kulamwe from Tetso.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar और ड्रिफ्टिंग कमिटी ने हमारा देश को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इमरजेंसी एक्ट इंक्लूड किया, ताकि जब हमारा देश मुसीबत और वार में हो तब हम सब यूनिटी के साथ लड़ सकते। लेकिन डॉक्टर B.R. अम्बेडकर ने एक वार्निंग भी दी कि अगर पावर को मिसयूज की तो हमारा डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में आ सकता है। Ladies and gentlemen, respected judges, faculties, and to you all my dear brothers and sisters. My name is Kulamwang and I am from Tetso College. As we have already seen the warning that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar once gave us, the warning of emergency, the periods of 25 June 1975 till 1977, 21st March 1977. This period is also known as one of the darkest period in the history of India, Democratic Republic of India, where our fundamental rights have been put into pause. Our opposition leader were being arrested without even a trial. Our media were put into silence. In place of peace and harmony, fear has been organized among the citizen. In democracy fail and dictatorship take place in one of the biggest democratic country in the world. Do history is only a history? No. History teaches us a value. History teaches us a lesson. Today, we learn the value of our fundamentals right. We learn the value of our opposition leader. We also learn the value of our media. And we also learn that democracy is ruled by the people. When people are silent, democracy is into trouble. It's not only the responsibility of the government to protect the constitution, to protect the fundamentals right, or to protect the democracy, but it's the responsibility of every citizen, because constitution, democracy belongs to the people, and it belongs only to the people. Today, after 50 years of emergency, responsibilities lies on the youth. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.
Dihe from ICFA University. Kriketozo Peter from NIT Nagaland.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Kriketozo Peter Sekose from the National Institute of Technology, currently pursuing my Bachelor's of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering. In this world where democracy means everything to all of us, in this Indian society that we live in, that India today, where does it stand in the world as the largest democracy? But let us think back. Before we think back, let me just bring you to ourselves. How many of us here have read or understood the Constitution? How many of us here knows our fundamental rights? How many of us knows that we have rights and we have the right to access, or like we have the right to do many things that the Indian Constitution has given us? But how many of us have read that? So let us go back to the night of 25th June 1975, where there was emergency in India, the darkest phase of Indian democracy. Here, in this point, is where Indian democracy had a wake-up call. The Indian people were supposed to wake up. Like today, I call each and every one of us to wake up and learn our constitution and learn for yourself what your rights are, what our rights are. Today, we have the freedom of speech, we have the freedom of expression. And it is a big privilege that each and every one of us have. But this privilege was taken from the people of India back in 1975. And that lasted for 21 months. Mind you, 21 months is a very long time. In this time, there were many things that happened. But out of this, I would like to point out the mass sterilization that Sanjay Gandhi took upon himself. And he forced people to take mass sterilization, which caused more than 2,000 people to die. And that is not a small number, mind you, my friends. Today, we stand here in this moment where we stand the 50 years of emergency, and we still think that emergency was just a normal thing. I don't think so. It was not a normal point of life. At that point, Indian constitution was questioned. Indian constitution was said goodbye. And there came dictatorship that people call today. But no, I would say that it was not dictatorship. It was people call not something known as nepotism that the Congress had put in. Today, do we as youths, do we question the Constitution? Do we question the opposition? Do we question the ruling party? As Indian citizens, do we question it? Are we aware of our rights? Today, I ask you, all of you, that in those times of those dark days, we can say that the dark days were there, but today I ask you, democracy, do you believe that democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people? Like Abraham Lincoln said. At that point in 1977, when finally the emergency was taken down, they brought the end to nepotism. It brought unified people further after the independence, where people thought that it was an easy life from then on. But no, my friends, it is a struggle every day to be in a democracy, and it is a struggle for each and every one of us that we must bear in our shoulders. Thank you very much.
Kimihan H. from Tetso College.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kimihan from the Department of Economics, second semester at Tetso College. And I have given to speak on the topic 50 years of emergency, lessons for Indian democracy. Today, I stand before you as a citizen, convinced that democracy must be guarded by law. What is democracy? If you don't remember the moments when power betrayed the people. On 25th June 1975, the constitutional order was suspended, civil liberties were revoked, the press was caged, and the parliament was rendered powerless. Emergency was not declared by a dictator. It was imposed by an elected government. So the question is, what have we learned? We learned that election alone do not protect liberty. We learned that institution without legal safeguard collapse under pressure. Today, I propose 3 legislative lessons. First, enact a constitutional memory act that the parliament must observe 25th June every year as National Constitutional Vigilance Day with debates, reports, and public addresses. Memory must be institutional. Second, introduce a Civic Freedoms Protection Act. This law must guarantee that no media outlets, student union, or civil society organizations can be banned without public hearing and judicial review. Third, pass an emergency powers regulation bill. This bill must make it mandatory for any of emergency or emergency-like powers to be approved by 2/3 votes in a joint section of parliament within 7 days. It must include the 7-day sunset clause under which power lapses unless renewed. All detention under such powers must be reviewed by a special constitutional bench of the Supreme Court within 72 hours. These are not radical demands. They are safeguards. If we don't legislate these protections now, we leave the door open for a future emergency, declared or undeclared. Emergency was not one-time event. It was a blueprint. And unless we rewrite the rules, it can be repeated quietly, legally, and permanently. So today, 50 years later, we don't just remember, but we legislate, we demand, and we act, because democracy is not a ritual. It is a responsibility, and we, the youth of this republic, are ready to carry it forward. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Gus Ransit Pei from NIT Nagaland.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected judges and all the participants that are present here. My name is Flavia. I'm from the Department of ECA representing NIT Nagaland. According to Article 352, Clause 1 of Indian Constitution, It is said that a President of India can call on national emergency only on three conditions. First is if any state or territory security is threatened due to war, external aggression, or internal disturbances. You will be glad to know that the first two national emergency was called due to war, that is in 1962, and in 1971 it was due to war. But the third national emergency called by Indira Gandhi was due to internal disturbances. There was a series of events that ends up to calling this national emergency, such as the inciting speeches of opposition leaders across all nations, but the main one was the High Court of Allahabad that ruled her 1971 political seat invalid. During this 21-month period, our country saw suspended civil liberties, strict press censorship, and the mass arrest of opposition leaders. The main effect that was due to this national emergency was the forced sterilization in unhygienic manner that was carried out by Sanjay Gandhi. During this 1975 and 1977, it was known as the darkest period in Indian history. It was like a black veil that was imposed on all the rights and principles that democracy stood for. It made us question whether the legislative, the one who makes the law, or judiciary, the one who protects the law, should be more powerful. It reminds the fragility of democratic constitution. Citizens and political leaders should remain vigilant if there is any attempt to undermine our constitutional rights. It highlights the importance of having an independent judiciary branch, and it emphasizes the role of having free press to safeguard our rights. Thank you.
Next, we have Thangui from Tetso College.
A very good afternoon to everyone, respected chairperson, honorable judges, and my fellow participants. My name is Tang Hugh from the Department of Social Work, second semester. And today I'm here to speak on the topic 50 Years of Emergency, Lessons for Indian Democracy. Democracy cannot be destroyed in a day, but it weakens when freedom falls slowly and silent. So, Indian also witnessed this moment in the early 1975, which is the emergency. This declaration of emergency remained one of the most significant turning points in Indian political history. Because during this period, fundamental rights of the citizens were suspended, freedom of speech and expression were postponed, and press and media were restricted. Although the emergency aimed to maintain stability, it revealed that how fragile a democracy can become when an excessive power is concentrated in one authority. 50 years later, the emergency teaches us several important lessons, and I would love to share one of the three most important lessons. Firstly, democracy remains, one of the most powerful thing in the world. Like people living in India, it is a democratic country. So democracy survive only when its citizens, remain awake and aware. Freedom of speech and expression must never be taken for granted. And the next lesson, secondly, strong institutions are very essential. Independent courts, free election, and this medias, they are the most important thing that we could learn from the emergency, because without media, the world can be, blind. So media is one of the most important thing in this lesson. And thirdly, and most importantly, the emergency teaches leaders that governance must always respect the constitutional values and public trust. More importantly, after the emergency ended, India witnessed, peaceful elections where the citizens exercised their voting power to restore democratic balance. And this democratic restoration is the, present fruit that we are getting to experience in this present society, as you can see. So, as a youth of, as a today, as a citizens, participating in this Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament, it has become a responsibility to, promote and protect democratic principles and, dialogue and ensure accountability. And we are very much aware that India survived this emergency because its people believe in democracy, and we are aware that this democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, the people, fellow citizens, and my fellow citizens, let us remember that, you know, history not to make mistake, but to build a stronger and more resilient India. And I would like to end my, speaking speech with stay awake, stay aware, and be vigilant. Jai Hind and thank you.
Chenio from Tetso.
Good afternoon, one and all, respected judges, my fellow friends. Today, I stand before you all to speak on the theme 50 Years of Emergency Lesson for Indian Democracy. See, 50 years ago, on 25 June 1975, the emergency was declared in India. Like fundamental rights, fundamental rights were suspended and press was censored. Like democratic institutions were put under immense pressure. I want you all to imagine. Yes, everybody has been saying, imagine, imagine. Like I want you really to imagine that one day you wake up and find yourself that you have no more rights. You have no more rights, yeah. So how will you feel? You'll feel powerless because you cannot do what you want. You don't have your own choices. I'm a bit nervous, sorry. Like you'll feel fearful. You don't know what will happen in future. Like you will feel frustrated and angry because being treated unfairly hurts. Less valued, you'll feel less valued. Your dignity, your respect doesn't matter at all. Why are we still talking about the incident which happened 50 years ago? Is because that thing happened because we, the people during that time, they couldn't stand together. They couldn't come together. They couldn't fight together. That is because democracy was weakened. See, I want to tell you all that democracy is not self-sustaining. Democracy works when people come together. Like when people fight together, when people are alert, and when people cooperate with each other. See, the emergency taught us powerful lessons. First, it reminded us that rights such as freedom of speech are not permanent, are not guaranteed. They must be protected. Second, it showed that institutions like the judiciary, media, and civil society play a crucial role in maintaining checks and balance. Third, and most important, I prefer true guardians of democracy is us people. We shall guard democracy. We shall come together. See, what is the role of youth in nation building? First is, we as a youth, we should stay informed. We should know our rights, our duties. What are the duties? Like, we should be a civilized student, civilized citizen. Second is, we should participate as we are all now. We will be like, we are all now above 18 years. We can vote in elections. So we should know who we are voting. But I would like to end by saying, let us ensure that the next 50 years are remembered not for challenges to democracy, but for the strengthening of it. Thank you.
K. Dimple Kaushik from NIT Nagaland.
Honorable Chair, respected dignitaries, and my dear fellow participants. This year marks 50th year since the emergency was declared in our country. It was a period where the democracy was questioned and tested in our nation. During that period, fundamental rights of citizens were suspended and the freedom of media, press were restricted. The democratic policies operated in such a way that there are given significant limitations to each one of them. While we remember about emergency today, it's not about recollecting or revisiting those emotions again. It's about how well we learn and understand the evolution of our democracy from that experience. So, India has learned certain lessons from that experience. The first lesson is the relationship between power and responsibility. Emergency has proved that too much concentration of power can lead to imbalance and spoiling the democratic policies in our country. And hence, accountability has to be ensured to sustain and protect those balances and democratic policies. And the second lesson is the importance of social institutions, which are really strong. Over the past 50 years, Indian democracy has developed and encouraged its jurisdictions, judiciaries, electoral policies, and constitutional safeguards. These overall developments helped Indian democracy to stand in such a place with stability and resilience in the world. And the third lesson is the role of citizens. Democracy does not sustain itself on its own. It depends on citizens who question the society, the government responsibly, who are aware of the society, and who actively participate in the society and the public engagement activities. After 50 years, Indian democratic journey is in such a place where it reflects growth and evolution. So hence, after 50 years, India showed its evolution, its adaptation, and its learning process. Is it perfect? No. Is it still learning? Yes. And hence, the future lies in our hands on how responsibly we, the youth of India, take care of those lessons and carry them forward. I am Dimple Kaushik Kanchpoina from NIT Nagaland signing off. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Sanjeev Gupta from NIT Nagaland.
Good afternoon, everyone, respected judges and respected participants. My name is Sanjeev Gupta. Currently, I am pursuing BTech in Mechanical Engineering at the National Institute of Technology, Nagaland. Today, we are discussing about 50 years of emergency. I will talk in some English and some Hindi words. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं 50 इयर्स ऑफ इमरजेंसी के बारे में. कोई हमसे पूछता है कि 50 इयर्स ऑफ इमरजेंसी के बारे में क्यों डिस्कस कर रहे हैं हम, तो हम ये बोल सकते हैं कि 50 इयर्स ऑफ इमरजेंसी के बारे में इसलिए बात कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हम एक यूथ जनरेशन है और हमको अपने राइट्स को पता होने चाहिए और हमें अपने गवर्नमेंट से क्वेश्चन करने चाहिए, क्योंकि उस समय में हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स को छीन लिए गए थे. हमारे जो भी मीडिया थे फ्रीली वर्क करते थे उनको रिस्ट्रिक्टेड कर दिया गया था, जो भी जुडिशरी थी उनको इंडिपेंडेंटली वर्क नहीं करने दिया जा रहा था। तो इससे हमको ये सीख मिलती है कि हमें कभी भी अपने राइट्स को स्टेक में नहीं लेना चाहिए। हमें अपने कोई भी पार्टी हो उस पर हमेशा अपने जो भी अपना मूल अधिकार है, हमें फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, हमें अपने गवर्नमेंट्स के अगेंस्ट हमेशा क्वेश्चन पूछते रहना चाहिए। कोई भी ऐसा चीज जो पब्लिक के फेयर में ना हो, कभी भी कोई भी गवर्नमेंट हो या फिर कभी भी एक ऐसे गवर्नमेंट जो जिसके पास खूब मतलब ज्यादा पावर्स हो, कंसंट्रेशन हो पावर्स का, वो मिसयूज कर सकता है हमारे डेमोक्रेसी में। इसलिए जो भी यूथ हैं हमारे कंट्री में, मैक्सिमम यूथ जो है एजुकेटेड होने के बावजूद भी ये पॉलिटिक्स में इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेते हैं। लेकिन मैं अपने यूथ फ्रेंड से कहना चाहूंगा कि हम इस कंट्री के फ्यूचर हैं, तो वी शुड पार्टिसिपेट इन द पॉलिटिक्स, वी शुड लर्न व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन आवर कंट्री, वी शुड आस्क व्हाट इज doing in our country, what politics are happening, what are the things that we can raise questions. We can see some medias are not working properly and we can question them, and for sometimes there are some questions that we raise in our mind, why government is doing like this. But sometimes when people don't ask to the government think that people will accept the situation. But I truly want that all the youth and public people of the country should always raise the against in always raise the questions, then not not about the things but the judiciary. When there is, if we talk about judiciary, I have recently heard a news that there is a judge, high court judge, in his house, farmhouse, we some case or available, but we questions what is happening in our country. We can ask about the health infrastructure, ask about the education system, ask about the road infrastructure, that is currently what is happening and what government will do. We should learn and we should always questions through the government what is happening. So I would like to thank for giving me chance to express myself. Thank you.
In Songsa Longchar, NIT Nagaland.
Good morning, everyone. I am Im Songsa Longchar. I'm currently pursuing BTech in Computer Science, and I'm from NIT Nagaland. So, honorable judges and my dear friends, exactly 50 years ago, on the midnight of June 1975, India woke up not to the dawn of freedom, but to the darkness of decree. With a single signature from the President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, on the advice of PM and Indira Gandhi, the world's largest democracy was placed under a state of national emergency. Today, as we mark 5 decades since that fatal attack on our constitution, we don't just recount a historical event, we revisit a vital lesson on the fragility and resilience of our democratic soul. For 21 long months, the constitution was shot. There was lots of suspension of rights and mass arrest of the opposition leaders like Jai Prakash Narayan, Atal Bihari. They were arrested without any trial. Another case is the ADM Jabalpur case, where the right to vote was challenged. But through these all challenges, the common man united in 1997 and restored the laws. So what do we learn from this? We learn from this that as individuals, as from the poorest of the poor to the richest of the rich, we all should unite against injustice. Suspensions of right is not a joke. We should fight against it and defend it till our death. So what I want to say through all, what I want to say through my speech is that we should stand our rights and should always be ready to defend our constitution. They say you can only realize the value of oxygen when you are gasping for breath. For an Indian citizen in 1975, liberty was that oxygen. And throughout these years, we have come to realize how important it is. So today, as we mark this somber anniversary, these lessons resonate amid global democratic backsliding. We must defend free speech, reject authoritarian temptations, and cherish elections as the heartbeat of our republic. Let us pledge never again. Internal vigilance is India's democratic mantra. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Ponglei Konyak. Nuklutiba Imsong. Nuklutiba Imsong. Lika Achumi. Watinaro. Vanille. Indube. Crinile John. Thank you to all the participants for your enthusiastic involvement. Now, to lighten the atmosphere before the announcement of results, we will now have a special number by Miss Linoka Yapto from BSW 6th semester. She is also the reigning Miss Sumi. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. Though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. It's cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shout out till tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the beautiful performance, Ms. Linoka. We now invite the judges to share their remarks and proceed with the prize distribution.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to all the participants. You all have done a great job. So, a big round of applause to all the participants. Okay. Uh, a short remark. You all have done a great job. Okay, and we really appreciate it and kindly uh, do this even in the days ahead. Okay, all right, because as students you really need to work hard, never give up. All right, and that should be the spirit. And before as well, the coordinator, I guess the person said that Nagaland should shine outside, isn't it? So you all will do well if you don't give up and keep on working hard. Okay. Okay, this year's topic, 50 years of emergency, lessons for Indian democracy, is quite interesting. And you all have been doing very well. Your content have been very good. As a faculty, what I will say is that I'm a faculty, so a faculty of political science. For me, if I have to go back to history, then emergency is a dark history of India, isn't it? Right? So now in this present generation, instead of going back to the past, why not we focus on the future? Isn't it? Right? Why go back to the dark past? But yes, we need to learn lessons from the past and go ahead. And that will lead towards progressive India. That is Viksit Bharat. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to announce the result now. Okay, I will start from the last. There are two candidates who have bagged the fourth prize. Okay, one is Niketunyo Thapo from Nisar. He's in the fourth position. We have two, and one more, Kyumi Han. Please excuse me for my pronunciation. Okay, Kyumi Han from Tetso College. Both of them in the fourth position. The third prize goes to Kirinile John from ICFA University. The second position goes to Molomi from Tetso. And the first prize goes to, any guesses? All right. Kriketunyo from NIT. Congratulations to all the participants. Thank you.
Okay, since ma'am has already taken the time, I would like to request the other three judges to come as well to give out the certificates to the winners, and as well as a small token of appreciation, some cash prizes as well. Okay. So I would like to first Sir Avimakretsu to please come up on the stage. He is the president for Chumuginama Town Students, Chumuginama Town Youth Organization. So you please come. From NEISSR, Niketuno Tapo. Please come up on the stage. I would like to call upon Sir Youngam, Dr. Youngam. He is from the Department of Social Work, Tetso College. For this, I would like to call the fourth position, another fourth position, Kyung Han from Tetso College. Please come up on the stage. I would also like to call for third position from ICFI, K. John. Third position. Can you give a big round of applause? Now I would like to call Dr. Yambini Kikon, Assistant Professor and HOD of Department of Political Science, Patkai Christian College, to give out for the second prize. Second prize, Miss Molomi from Tetso College. Now I would like to call again Dr. Yambini, Miss Elmi Rea Keringma, Assistant Professor and also the Head of the Department Political Science from ICFI College, ICFI University. For the first prize, I would like to call from NIT Krekatuno. Thank you. I will also just continue my vote of thanks. Thank you everyone for making this program a successful one. We have come to the end. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. K. Mani Kantad, the District Youth Officer, my Bharat, and his colleague for their valuable presence. I would also like to give my heartfelt appreciation to our respected judges. First, we have Mr. Avi Makretsu, President, Chumukidima Town District, Chumukidima Town Youth Organization. We also work in the same organization, and I couldn't find a better person to be one of the judges as well. Thank you, sir, for coming. I would also like to thank Dr. Yambini Kikon, Assistant Professor, Head of Department of Political Science, Patkai Christian College. We also heard, though we are meeting for the first time, we got good reviews from the principal herself. So definitely we're full confident you will do good job in here as well. Thank you, ma'am. The same compliment goes for Ms. Elmi Kerengma, Assistant Professor, Head of the Department, Political Science from ICFI University. And we also have Dr. R. Youngam, Assistant Professor from the Department of Social Work from our own Tetso College. Thank you, sir, so much for assisting us in this event. Now, I would like to sincerely thank the IT and media team for covering the whole live coverage and staying till now with us. Thank you so much for that one. We usually, forget sometimes the works they do behind the scenes as well. We just want to know that we truly value your work. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank the participants from various institutes for coming here and showcasing your talents, and let this not be the last. Let this be the start of something new. And also the program officers, NSS program officers of different institutes for encouraging your students and also coming here in this program as well. It's very encouraging for all of us. Thank you, sir. And also we would like to thank the NSS members for their active participation in this event. All those in the program, the people that were in the program, thank you so much for making this program a lively one. Thank you so much. And also, I would like to thank my dear team, my NSS team, for their tireless effort, not just for today. Like, we have been working on this for such a long time. We hope that we have done justice for this particular program as well. Thank you so much. And also, everyone who has given their support and showed an encouragement for this program, I would like to thank each and every one of you. And if I have forgotten anything, my apologies, but still, we thank you all so much. And with this, we come to the end of the program. For officially, we would like to take one photo uh, with the winners as well as with all the participants. All the participants, please do not worry. You will get your certificates right after the program. Okay. And definitely for the participants, and there will be some refreshment in the Stone Park area. For those who are outsiders, the volunteers will assist you to take you down there. And for the judges, we will meet in the reception in the lobby for some light refreshment as well. So I would like to call all the participants, first all the winners and the judges as well, to please come up on the stage. If my the POs as well from NIT, could you please come, sir? Yeah, both of you. Sir, can you please come as well? Yes, sir.